Good evening, everybody. First of all, I just want to, thank Transform. I think that they're doing a really, really good work down in South London here. It's a type of church that I always said that I want to be part of, because the people in the church are sort of the people from my background, and it's only that they link up to people that you feel that you could more identify with and you could more help out because you've been there yourself. I come from Hackney in East London. Philip was saying that he used to come up to North London to rob some boys. He never used to come to my manor. But anyway, Stoke Newington, he never used to come down there. I tell you, I used to protect that place, man. Any strangers used to come down there, brother, until you have to pay me tax. But anyway, so, I don't know where you used to go in North, but you never used to come to my manor, because I tell you. Anyway, I shouldn't be on that because... But anyway, I come from Hackney, and I grew up. When Philip was talking, it's sort of kind of same sort of background. My parents are from Jamaica, and we grew up very, very strict. Exactly the same thing what Philip used to say with my dad. My dad was, he used to work in the week and come home and play dominoes and stuff like that. And but there was problems with my mum and dad, and they used to fight a lot. And so I saw a lot of, my dad used to beat my mum a lot, which wasn't, good for me. I never got on with my dad when I was young, because of that, because I really loved my mum, and I didn't like the way they used to treat my mum. Even though when I got older now, I understand. I'm not saying I understand him hitting my mum or whatever, but I had problems between them, which he made me understand that when I got older. So I didn't get on with him because I'm a youngster and I'm just seeing what I'm seeing. So, I just didn't like him at all. And he left, he eventually left the home when I was 11 years old. And in a sense, I was happy, but I was sad because, you want your dad to be there, but you didn't want him to be there because of the things that was happening. And then I think that affected me, me and my brothers at school. And then, from the age I can remember, was at school. I was quite clever at school. I was in the top class, and I tried to do things that was right. I tried to, because when I was going to school, if he came home and his shoes had a little, a bit white on his shoes, or you had white on your trousers, I'm telling my dad would strip his skin, so to make sure that, you come street, you used to see everybody at the gate kind of rubbing themselves down to make sure that, you could tell his parents were strict, because that thing just rubbing up things, you're gonna go home, you're gonna get a good beating. So, it used to be a thing. But then something happened to me at school, and I don't think that was a turning, because I used to get bullied a lot when I was younger at school. And I remember one time, I was in the top class, and I was enjoying myself. And then one time, the teacher wanted us to go to the grave and rub. I don't know if you remember, we used to do that, rub the traces. And I used to find that morbid. I used to find it disrespectful standing on somebody's grave and rubbing the grave. And I remember saying to the teacher that, why do you want to go and do that? Just all of a sudden you want to go down the graveyard and rub, And I used to say to him, and then I kind of eased him because we were going to do it. So I stormed off down the road, and he called me back, Mr. Mines, his name, I don't know if I get in trouble. Anyway, Mr. Mines. And he punched me up on the road. So I thought to myself, this ain't right. So I went home. At that time, my dad was still living at home. And I told my dad, and I said, listen, the teacher beat me up today, because I didn't want to rub the gravestone. So he came up and beat up the teacher. So then because of that now, they put me in the delinquents class. And then they left me in the delinquents class for that. So it's like they didn't want to teach me, even though, what I achieved already. So I thought to myself, you know what? I'm just gonna make some money, man. So I went to secondary, this was in primary school, I went to secondary school, and nothing changed in secondary school. As much as I tried to push myself to go and do things, to get into classes, to think nobody wanted to know. No. So I thought to myself, I'm just gonna make some money in school, and just start to make some money. So, because I was bullied before, I thought to myself, the only way that, in a sense, I was helping out people. So I beat up a lot of guys, to get a high status in school, to make sure that, you know, nobody don't mess about with me. So I had my own gang, right? So I said to myself, all right, then we need to, you know, make some money. So I put together a protection racket. So I thought, all right, then all of these guys now, we're going to go on and extort money off of them so we're going to protect them. You know, in a sense I did, because them guys never got bullied. You know what I mean? So I charged them 5p a day to come to school. So I had my boys stand up at the gate, and they had to pay their 5 pence to come into school. If you didn't pay your 5 pence, you was going out and staying out of school for you not coming to school today. But I mean, I did protect them, because if any of the other gang used to trouble them, I used to go, you know, I'm being paid to do it. I used to go and, you know, do the other guys. Like, so, you know, it was the thing. But then me and my brothers, my dad was a naughty boy. Before he left Jamaica, he had 20 children before he left Jamaica. That's why I think that's why he ran away from Jamaica, and because of maintenance. A good-looking guy, I must admit. When I see his passport, he's a good-looking man, and he had 6 children with my mum, and you know, I've got brothers and sisters all over the place. And my mum had children before she met my dad, and had children after she met my dad. So all in all, there's about 30 of us, 31 I counted, and my brothers back in Jamaica, some of my brothers back in Jamaica were very, very bad, come from Montego Bay. And one of them, you know, I visit Jamaica regularly, and he done 24 years in prison. He was in the gun court for 24 years, for locked up. They let him out a few years ago. My other brother Steve, he was locked up in Montego Bay prison, and he escaped. He went to America, and they shot him in America and killed him. My other brother is the one that let out. The police shot him about 3 times. They shot him in the head. So when I go and see him, he's in a poorhouse up in Montego Bay now. And he's not right in the head. He talked to you, but he's not all there. And then my brothers over here, me and my brothers used to, you know, all of us have been to prison, barring one of my youngest brothers. My other brother, he's found it difficult, because he's literally been in prison since he's been 18 till he's not nearly 40, in and out of prison. And as much as even I speak to him, he still kind of likes the street business. And now my nephew's in prison, just following after his father. I remember my brothers used to go out and we used to rob places from, I say 5. We used to go out systematically, and we used to have so much loot, so much stuff in our bedroom that we used to hide. It used to be balancing on the bed, right? That we used to put the sheets down so that my mum and dad wouldn't see all the stuff that we had was stealing, because we was going out, like me and my younger brother, because me and him was kind of brown skin and the other 2 was dark skin. So them 2 used to go out, and we used to go out. So night after night, we used to go out with plastic bags. We used to rob schools and rob anywhere that we could do, pubs, anywhere. And then after when I got older and older, I started to smoke weed when because I left school at 15. I didn't see the point in going to school because I wasn't learning anything. As much as I wanted to learn, I wasn't learning anything. So I left school at 15. I started to smoke weed. And I actually kind of liked it. So the same thing with Philip. I used to smoke so much weed, I used to say to myself, you know, I might as well make some money out of it. So I used to buy weed. I used to go and buy my weed and go and sell it. But I never used to smoke so much of it. I used to buy my smoking lot and I used to buy my selling lot, so I made money out of it. And then I started to sell pills. Like, I think they call it blues, but these are like purple pills and happy pills and stuff like that. When I used to start to sell loads of these pills, I used to be like, they used to call me the walking chemist, because I never used to have, I didn't want to get caught. You used to have all these guys down on the front line, you used to tell them the police would be watching them. I said, I don't want to be watched by no police. So I used to walk on the road, and when people used to see me too, you got anything? Yeah, I've got what I've got. Then I started to, I used to tax people in Stoke Newington. That's why I said, if any of you guys came down to Stoke Newington and I didn't know you was going to get taxed, or we were going to get into problems. I said, some of the boys that was in the area, if I used to see them, because I used to run with some guys that was really, really bad guys up in Hackney. And a lot of the other guys in my area used to be frightened of me, because I used to roll with these really heavy guys. So when I used to see them, if I didn't have any money, I used to see them, and when they used to see me walking down the road, they used to turn back and think, you know, say, hey, come here, brother, you know, I ain't got nothing. I've got nothing. And he goes, no, we've got anything. So I said, yeah, but you know, you got to pay your tax. Every time you see me, you got to give me something. And he goes, I ain't got nothing. I had to take their chain, I had to take anything. I don't care how sentimental it was to them. They had to give me something. If I saw any strangers in the area, and there used to be a lot of skinheads about, if I saw any strangers in the area, me and my boys used to get taxed. If you didn't get taxed, I would beat you. I was going to say, broke you up. You know what I mean? I'd really beat them up and saying, you know, I don't want to see them in this area again. If you come to this area, you make sure you bring some money to give me. Because if you see me, you're going to have to pay me. And he used to do things like that. Then I got into selling guns. I got into, but even before that, when I was at school, I don't know if I was the one that passed all of that. I don't even remember those old gat guns. I don't even remember them. The old pellet guns, and I used to sell these BB guns and stuff like that. And I found a place up in Muswell Hill that used to sell them, and they didn't even add much regulations in those days. So, and I used to look older for my age anyway. I used to buy a lot. I think I sold them to everybody in Hackney. And because I used to go up, then I used to buy bagfuls of them and come to school and sell these guns. We used to shoot people. We used to shoot birds. We used to shoot police cars. And then after what I done, I think that they weren't powerful enough. And then I used to get the powerful ones from America, because you used to get these magazines in the shop. And he used to have really, really powerful these guns that, and plus you could use them. They fire multiple shots. So I said import these guns from America and sell them. They were much more powerful until the government got wind of it and banned it and said anybody has to walk around with the gun to shoot. Anybody used to shoot, and if you shoot on close range, you could kill somebody. You know what I mean? People used to shoot people. Used to have, if I shot you with it, you used to have operations to have to take out the pellets. And then after I progressed into selling real guns, because the guy that I used to roll with, he's dead now. He used to have a lot of clients, and I got myself into trouble because people wanted to shoot me because, you know, he double-crossed them and a whole load of stuff, you know. And you know, it's just that was the sort of life that I was living, even though I was working. And I remember I got into trouble. We went up Stamford Hill one night with my cousin. We got into some argument. I robbed a whole lot of people. Actually, it was like a mini riot. That's what the police said. It was like a mini riot, but me and my cousin did. And we smashed up houses. We smashed up cars. Anybody that we robbed, anybody that we saw that night. You know what I mean? And then I got caught. Got taken in the police station. The police gave me a good hiding that night. Really good beating. Then they was going to take me to the hospital. And I, you know what I mean? I spat at the police, tell them all kind of stuff. They took me down, they beat me up again to take me down to the hospital. So I said, how are you gonna go and beat me up and take me to the hospital? And that doesn't make any sense. You see what I'm saying? Then when I went to the hospital, I told the doctors he ain't gonna put his hands on me. Because after waiting hours, then they brought me back to the police station, give me a good hiding again, and put me in a cell. And then after I went to court, and I know I was gonna get put in prison, I know I was going to, the judge said you're going to get a prison sentence. So we persuaded him to give me bail. So my dad paid the bail. My dad didn't even know, because I know I was saying, Dad, oh, if you could put the bail money up, you know what I mean? You know, then thing. But my dad didn't even know I booked a flight to Jamaica already. So I went to court the Thursday. The Saturday I was on a plane to Jamaica, and I thought, I'm going. So I went out to Jamaica for a while. My dad was really upset because he had to pay the money. And so I went over there and I came back. And when I came back, that's when they caught me and put me in prison. And then after I came out of prison, I said, I'm not going back into prison again. But then I'm not going to do anything again. But then I went back on the streets, started to sell drugs again and stuff like that. And then it came to take, because I'm a chef by trade. So I carry knives, and I carry my knife pack, because I used to do a lot of agency work, and I carry my knife packed. And one evening I was coming home from work down in the West End, and I went for a drink down in Soho. And after, I couldn't drink that much. I used to smoke more weed than drinking. If I had 2 beers, I was anybody's. So I went to this pub. I think I had about 3 beers, and I came out the pub and I thought, I'm going to go to this little club. So I went to the club, and I was really drunk. And I went to the club, and the lady said she ain't going to let me in because I'm a bit tipsy. So I must have hit the lady. and I ripped up and chucked the table all over the place, and then started to fight the two bouncers inside there. And so they threw me down the stairs and they threw me out the club. And then I don't know where I can't remember because I was out my mind, and these three guys came to me and told me, "Oh, you're looking for trouble." So I said to them, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I am actually looking for trouble, brother." You know what I mean? And I took out my knives and I unrolled the knife belt and I choose the knife. I said, "I'm gonna fillet you." So all I remember is pulling out this knife and all I remember is going to stab this guy, and I can't remember anything after that. And then I woke up somewhere down the road. I woke up and I picked up my stuff. I had a load of money on me. Nobody robbed me or anything like that. And I didn't even realize that I got stabbed in the face. And I went to the McDonald's on Tottenham Court Road. And the guy, and I ordered my food, and the guy's walking up and down, looking at me. So I'm looking at the guy thinking, I said, "Brother, you looking at like that?" You understand what I'm saying? You know, you walking with you fancy me. You know what I mean? I was gonna lean over there and do something to him. I said, "You looking at me like that?" Because he's kind of shaking to give me the food. So I said to him, I said, "You know what I mean?" I said, "What's wrong with you?" And then he said, "Your face. You know, look at your face." So because he's seen the blood come all down my face, I didn't even realize. It's only when I looked in the mirror in the McDonald's I realized that I had somebody stabbed me in the face. And I thought, "Oh no!" So anyway, I went to the bus stop and I got arrested the night anyway. And they put me in cell, and I ended up going on. When I went home and I took off my shirt, and when I looked at the back of my shirt, there's all blood down the back of my shirt. So I realized that somebody busted my head. And then I remember the night when I went, I went and I prayed, and I said to the Lord, and I haven't prayed in years. You know, I left church when I was 15 or 16. My mom said you didn't have to go to church. And I remember I prayed, and I didn't know what I was praying for really. And I just said to the Lord, I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to be looking over my shoulders anymore. You know what I mean? All the things that's happening to me, the way that I'm living, I don't live like this anymore. You know what I mean? Even though sometimes it's fun, but it was very, very depressing. You know what I mean? You go to nightclubs, you get into fights and all sorts, and you know what I mean? At times I was very, very depressed. I mean, you know, at one stage I wanted to kill myself. I remember when I was about 18, I wanted to kill myself. And I was sitting down there thinking of ways of killing myself. And I know people take pills and people cut their wrist, but the way that I actually thought of killing myself, I was going to put a big machete through my bed and then fall on it. That, you know, I mean, I wouldn't have died straight away. I think I'd have been suffered. I think it would have been easy for me to take pills. But I was going to go and do something horrific like that. And I remember sitting on my bed and thinking, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to fall on this machete and kill myself, man, because I've had enough. But that night there now, I prayed. And maybe I wasn't even looking for an answer. I wasn't even looking for an answer. I just prayed and I said, you know, I just wanted to stop this life. And I got one good brother in Jamaica that grew up a Christian, and he left Jamaica and went to America. And he got his stay in America after the years. He got his American citizenship, and he decided to come over to England in that December. And I remember he came over to England, and you know, I'd always, you know, if you came and spoke to me about God, I'd listen to you. Not said I'm going to take it in, but I'd listen to you. You understand? So he came over, and I said to him, look, come and stay at my flat, because I was having arguments with my other brother. So I said, come and stay at my flat. You could come and stay, you know, stay. And he preached most of the 2 weeks that he was there. Just sat down and talk about God and talk about God and talk about God. And then when he was leaving, he said, look, you got, you know, why don't you give God a try? You've tried everything else. I know it's that same old cliche, you know, you've tried everything else, why don't you try God? And I remember the end of the year, I thought to myself, you know, yeah, let me give it a whirl. But I had to give up smoking weed, and I loved smoking weed. I really love smoking weed, you know what I mean? And I remember I went out and got and buy a big drawer of weed, and you know, this is gonna last me for a whole month. You know what I mean? At the end of the month, end of January, when it finished, done. So at the end of the month, now it finished, I was really, really sad that the weed was gone, you know what I mean? It was, you know, it was a morning of a good woman, you understand what I'm saying? Seriously. I really felt sad of stopped smoking the weed. And then the other thing, I had to give up women. That was another problem with me. Now, I love women. And at the time, I didn't have a girlfriend. I just had quite a few women about that I had to scratch. I remember scratching the numbers out of my book that I didn't get tempted to call them. And my brother said to me, now once you give your life to God, the devil's going to try and all bring you back. And I remember one girl that I'd been after for years, come and put it on the plate for me. You know, I fell, I must admit, I took it, right? But then I thought, oh no, I can't. Then I remember this other girl that I was dealing with, she came by my friend's house and I said, look, I'm a Christian now, you know, I'm a Christian, I can't be She goes, oh, I'm only gonna come over your house for a cup of tea. And I said, look, you know, we're not gonna do nothing, we're not doing anything. So she followed me over and I'm praying, she's walking behind me and I'm praying, said, Lord, please give me the strength to resist her, please, give me the strength. So I got back to my flat and I said to her, listen, that's all we're having. I'm a Christian now. We can't do anything. So she said, no, we're not going to do. So I went in the kitchen and made a cup of tea and I came back out. When I came back out and I went into the bedroom, she was there stark naked. Oh no, so I gave her the tea and I went into the living room and I got on my knees and I prayed and I said, Lord, please give me the strength to resist this woman. I'm telling you, you know, she's standing there and I'm telling you, and she had legs that went all the way to heaven. That was my attraction to this woman. So anyway, I got in the bed and I got in the bed with her. She goes, oh, I'm only going to sleep with her. And the girl's pulling me. I had aching in my side. I go, no. And thank God I resisted the woman. Right? I did. And she was really upset the morning. She got out of bed, she was really upset. You know, I resisted and I thought, you know, no, I ain't gonna do this thing. And she went and in a sense I said, thank you, Jesus, you know, because it showed me that, you know, you can give me the strength to resist these things. But then after, you know, then after he you know, he said that, my brother told me that, you know, if you go into a church and it's not right, you know, the Lord will put you into a church. And I met my wife's brother's wife, who invited me to the church that I went to at that time, and I thank God, you know, and ever since that, was 20 years ago, and you know, I've been a Christian, and I'm not saying that I haven't had my struggles, you know, you got your ups and downs, but you know, I'm determined to serve God, and that is what I think, and then even the prison work that I do, it's something I always wanted to do since I became a Christian, and now I'm one of the coordinators for Emily prison, and I do Swellside, and you know, where you go in Swellside and Campbell and Parkhurst and stuff like that. You know, and I thank God that, you know, that He took me from where I was. You know, I could sit down and tell you many other things that I went through. You know, I could write a book on it. You know, on my life as I was growing up. You know, I've done so much things that sometimes I sit there and I'm ashamed of, you know, just like, you know, the brother said that he stabbed the guy there. You know, I've robbed some people, and even now sometimes I see their haunting face when I've been, you know what I mean, when you rob them and they're screaming and all sorts, and sometimes it's just getting to me, I couldn't care less. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? You know, if I saw a policeman walking down the road, I'd jump him. You see what I'm saying? If he was by himself, I'd jump him. You know what I mean? Because I dislike police so much. So, and they ain't got no gun, they ain't gonna shoot me. What are you gonna do to me? You can't shoot me. You take his baton and you beat him with a baton. Things like that. You know, so much of the things that I've done that I think that, you know, the Lord is saving me from. But at least He's given me a testimony that I could go to prison and say to a guy that's sitting in prison that, you know, you can make it too. You know, you could change your life too. You know, and that is what it's about. And you know, that's what He's saying, that God has got a plan for you. And sometimes, even though you look back on it, and you know, sometimes I'm sorry for what the things that I've done, but I could see where God is brought me from to where I am now. And, you know, and I thank God that, you know, I've got the testimony. And I will say, you know, I was in prison a couple of weeks ago in Swellside, and one of the prison officers came outside, and the man turned around and said to me that, you know, I don't care nothing for God. You know, I mean, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God, I don't care nothing for God. But he said that I do respect what you guys do in here. And he said that if it's even one person that changes when you guys come in there, it's worth that you guys being in there. Because we're making his life easier. Because if the bad guys in there really change, making his life easier. So, but he's looking at, and he's an atheist, but yet he goes and he said, I enjoy the service. I enjoy the service, and he don't believe in God, but I enjoy the service. But you know, God has got a plan for him. You understand, right? So you know, and that's what I look at, and I think to myself, you know, whatever we're doing, and that's what I said, you know, God bless his church. I saw it on the internet again the other day with somebody who's doing a testimony, and I say, God bless his church. Because, you know, the people that do, you know, when I go on the internet and I read a few of the testimonies, and it encourages me, because it shows me even now that God is working, that God is changing people, some really, really bad people, some people that even that I know, some terrible guys, if they stand into the things that they used to do, you know, and I was just speaking to a guy this afternoon, which I'm going to give Chris and Steve the link from you guys to invite him. There's a couple of guys that goes to the prison with me that was, one of them was in Swellside for 9 years. I don't know if it was the same time as you, that you might know him, but he was an armed robber, and another guy, he's been in and out of prison, that I'm signed up to do the prison ministry. So, you know, and these guys have given their life to the Lord, and they're zealous for God. One is doing, the one Anton is doing, he does homeless ministry at the moment, and hopefully he's going to get into the prison ministry, and then Greg is doing the prison ministry with us. So, you know, I just say keep up the good work here, you know, and, you know, as much as I could come back here and encourage the souls of the people that's in there and the visitors, you know, I would do so with my testimony in Jesus' name.